We ate at 16 different tavernas in the Ayia Napa area and we rated them all. Watch all videos to see which one we like the best. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So, welcome back to the highly anticipated part 2 of the best restaurants in Ayia Napa area. We got Hugo here, we got Remsho here.
Hello.
The 5th restaurant we tried was a little restaurant called Apple. What was the low point for you, Hugo?
Hey Hugo, what was the low point on Apple? You was And Dad, what was the low point for you?
The low point for me on Apple was definitely the little dried bun I got served. I put it right in the ashtray.
It's like an apple.
And Hugo, what was the low point for you?
I would agree that the buns were very trash, and I also think the halloumi was kind of average. So I would ask that as a low point. I agree with the boys. The bun we got served there was trash, to be honest.
Moving on to the high points. There definitely was a big high point for me, and that was the stuffed eggplant. It was really delicious with a nice cheese coating, very creamy and nice.
And the high point for me was the mussels in garlic. The mussels was very juicy. This garlic sauce that it was in was really delicious. I also think the mussels in garlic were very good, and it was very nice to take the mussels and like scoop the garlic sauce and eat it.
Well, alright guys, moving on to the points. I gave Apple at Nisi Avenue a 9.5 out of 10 points.
And I gave them a 8 out of 10 points. I also gave them a 9.5 out of 10 points. And that leaves Apple with 27 points out of 30, and that is an average of 9 points. We got my cousin Milton behind the camera.
Yeah, hello everyone.
My nephew Milton.
Yes, nephew Milton. He will.
So Milton,
Yeah.
will you ask us some questions about Rafael?
Yes, I will ask you about the high points and the low points on this restaurant. Okay, Uncle, what was the low point for you?
The low points for me, nephew Milton,
Yes.
was the dips. They had all the basic dips, but they had one that was like a beetroot dip that I didn't fancy.
I would agree completely with you. I also think they were pretty bad actually, and the pita bread, it felt like it was store-bought. One low point for me was the garlic bread. It was just boring. It tasted only bread. It didn't taste the garlic at all.
Yeah, but guys, wasn't there any high points?
There certainly was, Milton. And one high point for me, actually I had 2 high points. One of them was definitely the halloumi sticks. Up until that point, that restaurant had the best halloumi sticks. Me and Hugo, we actually had those halloumi sticks on our 2nd place for the best halloumi in the entire Ayia Napa area.
One high point for me was definitely the service. The guy there was so service-minded that we actually could see his sweat in his face. That was definitely a high point for me.
That's good.
What about you, Hugo?
One high point for me was the zucchini sticks. They were super good, and we had a dip that we could like dip them in. It was very good.
So, how did you rate Rafael?
I gave Rafael a solid 8 out of 10 points.
And I gave them 8 points. I also gave them 8 out of 10.
And that leaves Rafael in the center of Ayia Napa 24 out of 30 points. That's an average of 8 points. So guys, moving on to the next restaurant we tried. And that was Wild West, right smack down on Nisi Avenue.
Okay, Hugo, what did you think about the restaurant?
I think it was super good.
Super good.
I actually don't think there was any low points for me. What do you think?
I would agree with Hugo. I couldn't find any clear-cut low points. You could argue that maybe the mushroom balls, they were kind of average. But I wouldn't put them as a low point.
I agree with the guys. It wasn't any clear low points.
But guys, there certainly was some high points.
Tell me more.
Let me start off by saying that the garlic bread was very nice.
I would agree, but the best thing at Wild West was the ribs. They were so delicious. I mean, the meat just fell off the bone, and it was the best ribs that I've ever had.
The ribs were basically like a very well cooked pulled pork.
Tell me more.
One high point for me was the chicken wings.
And I also could remember that they were served with a really nice barbecue sauce that I couldn't get enough of.
And they actually served us mussels in garlic, and they tasted also really good. I will say that Wild West was one of the best restaurants that we tried.
Okay, guys, how many points did you give to Wild West?
I think everything I tried on the restaurant was good, so I gave Wild West a 10 out of 10.
I also thought that everything we got served was cooked to perfection.
Service was
Service was on point for sure. So I also gave Wild West a 10 out of 10 points, guys.
10 out of 10.
And that gives Wild West a total of 30 points out of 30.
And that leaves them with an average of
10 out of 10.
Okay, guys, the next restaurant you ate at was Flames, right?
Yeah, Milton, unfortunately so. Where do we even start with this one, Hugo? What was the low points for you?
the low points was everything.
Wait, was everything really bad?
Yes, it was.
Even the service? What service? They basically forgot us. They forgot we even existed.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Yeah, they suck.
We have to talk a little bit more about the non-existent service. First of all, we waited 45 minutes just to get the first dish in. And when we got the food, Hugo, how would you describe the food?
I mean, some of it was edible. The rest sucked. The rest sucked.
Everything was very dull looking. It basically had the same color, everything we ate. Low points was the fact that we was even there.
the whole restaurant was a low point, actually.
It was a big, huge disappointment.
The food was trash, the service was trash, the lighting on the restaurant was trash, everything basically was trash.
One of the worst thing was the dips. They were very pricey, and we only got 2 dips, and that was the hummus and the tahini, and they tasted the same. Trash.
And they were
Trash!
So bad. I remember I think the dips, the 2 of them cost more than like 5 dips at.
At another restaurant, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I ordered garlic bread with tzatziki. And in my mind, I thought that the tzatziki would be served behind the garlic bread. But instead, I got the tzatziki on the garlic bread. What the fuck? And the garlic bread was totally destroyed.
I mean, the garlic bread wasn't good without tzatziki, but it wasn't good with it either, so.
So, was there any high point at all?
Oh, one high point for me was that I survived.
When we left.
Okay, guys, how did you rate it?
I gave Flames Tavana a 0 out of 10.
I will be nice and give them a 1 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
That sounded really
Very
bad.
bad.
It was, Milton. It was. Luckily you
And
were
that
home.
leaves them with 1 point out of 30.
And that's an average of 0.33 points.
Oh, you got flames!